All right, welcome back to the SYP podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E, Ian to some. Pleased to be joined by SYP creator Scotty K. Scott, how art thou?
Thou art good. Yeah, I'm good. Just living, working, typical Monday. Rainy, really rainy morning. Kind of was nice in the afternoon. So, yeah, you gotta love it.
We hung out this weekend, Scott and I. I think this has been 2 weeks since we did our last pod because Ian is still trying to get his personal life squared away. So, I'll have more info on that when that becomes available. But Scott and I hung out this weekend. We were with our boys, Jevin and Brandon, Jevin of Left Side Heavy, Brandon's Brandon. And we were at what was the name of that simulator?
It was like the JY Golf, something like that. It was golf simulators in Port Coquitlam. Good experience and very cheap. All things kind of criminally cheap, actually.
I don't know if they charged us properly, but you're not going to say no.
I don't think they did, but I'm not complaining either. It was
no.
Good.
And I mean, we did 9 holes of what was it? Pebble? No,
Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines. We did 9 holes of Torrey Pines. Your boy shot 20 over on 9 holes, so it's a pretty realistic simulator. Scott was 13 over. I think you finished.
Yeah, that wasn't very realistic.
No, I thought it was completely realistic.
I think, part of the issue with that is that I accidentally, instead of hitting like a re-hit, I accidentally hit pick up. So it was like.
And that was on your first shot. That was after your tee shot.
That was after my tee shot, yeah. So I accidentally hit pick up, and it ended up that hole was a 12 for me instead of being like 6 or like 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that didn't help my score, but it was it wasn't realistic, but it was still fun. It was good, really good considering the weather outside and how shitty it was. So
yeah, we got 2 hours of Torrey Pines, California weather, and then we went out and it was piss and rain because it has been for the last 6 months. It feels like here
in the Lower Mainland, yeah.
So we had a big weekend of sports, Game 7s. But I think we should start with the story everybody's talked about: the Mariners losing to the Blue Jays tonight, 6-1 in Toronto. No, you know what? That got a little bit of reaction. I'll take that. We'll start with. I think we should start with the Flames. I think because you want to do what we did last pod where we just rank the upcoming series again.
Second round play. I like it. Yeah.
All right, so we'll do that. We'll start with a bit of a recap of the weekend. The Hurricanes just dominated the Bruins. The Leafs
in the game, yes. In the series, no.
But in the game on Saturday,
yeah,
Hurricanes dominated. Leafs Lightning played a pretty fun game, pretty entertaining game, more or less.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
The Oilers and the Kings played a game that I do not remember anything from. I watched that game from start to finish. Do not remember a single thing outside of McDavid scoring in that game. Cody Ceci scored allegedly. Sure. Yeah. Game 7s on Sunday included the Rangers overtime win. RIP Pittsburgh. They probably should have won that series.
Considering how bad Shesterkin played in game 2, 3, and 4, yeah, they probably should have lost, but they didn't. And good for the Rangers for coming back from 3-1. It's not easy to do against Crosby and the Penguins, even though Crosby was hurt in game 6, and they surely missed him in that. And I think had Jari been there for the full series,
we're probably talking about a different outcome.
It could have been the same. It just would have looked different. I don't know. It is hard. It is tough when you're playing your third string goalie against a Rangers team that's pretty good.
Yeah,
and that can make you pay offensively with 3 really, really good lines.
And then also to conclude Sunday night, the Calgary Flames beat Jake Ottinger. He didn't have a team in front of him. It was just Jake Ottinger.
Yeah. I gotta say that was one of the best games of the year to date. In all honesty, playoffs or regular season, that was 100% up there. Now we have a lot of playoffs left. Don't get me wrong, but that one, I'll remember that game for a long time, even though I'm not a direct fan of either of those teams.
This is what's great about being a fan of a team not in the playoffs and watching the playoffs. Is
Yeah,
you're just rooting, kind of like a
for
sicko for two teams to just go head to head with fan bases of either team who are screaming, crying, and throwing up watching their team in a game 7.
yeah, that sounds about right. People have
Um,
nervous breakdowns mid game or whatnot. Yeah, it's
yeah,
I'm with you for sure.
the Flames are moving on to the second round. They get to play the Edmonton Oilers. The other Western series is Colorado St. Louis.
Yep.
2 East series, we have the Rangers and the Hurricanes, and the Battle of Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida. Scott, I know we're going to do this rankings here. I feel like one thing we should discuss, though, before the second round is the Maple Leafs, because I know we talk about the Maple Leafs a lot.
Yep.
They are a thing, a team that people are talking about.
As they should be. Fair enough. And it's funny. There's 2 ways to look at it. Like, of all of the years to lose in the first round, this was probably the year to lose in the first round against defending Cup champs, against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are still a juggernaut, even though they were the 3rd seed in their own division. Yeah, it could have gone either way. It really could have gone either way.
Can I say, I think you're right about looking at it from 2 different viewpoints, because I was thinking about this today. I think you can look at this Maple Leaf loss, the series loss, from both a macro level and a micro level.
Sure.
The macro level is they've lost in the first round the last 6 years. Yeah. They've lost a winner take all game in the last 5 years in the first round, which I think even the models say have a 0 point whatever chance, like a 0.2% chance of happening. Like what the Leafs have done is like a minor miracle statistically. The odds of that happening,
it's unprecedented without a doubt. Yeah,
it's unprecedented.
Sure. Yeah,
and I know people are going to want to look at it from that viewpoint of this team continues to lose in the first round again and again, time and again. They find a way to blow it, to mess up.
Right.
But I think how I view this Maple Leafs loss, the series loss to Tampa Bay, I think I view it more at the micro level of just from this season, how this year went from the team.
Yeah.
Where this is the greatest Leafs team of my generation, greatest Leafs team I've ever seen, most talented Leafs team. They basically lost to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in Game 7 by 1 goal.
Yep.
Like, this is the most competitive that they've been in any first-round series.
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
This was the most competitive. This was the most well-balanced. This was the most stacked team, dare I say, from top to bottom that we've seen with the Leafs. And if it was any other team losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 7 games at home, 2-1, we're probably not going hard into the diagnostics of what's wrong and how do you fix it and how do you improve upon it.
Yeah.
But because it's Toronto, we have to overanalyze it and discuss it to great lengths.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how the Leafs go about this. If they decide to look at the macro level of this has been 6 years of this, we need a change. We need to do something different. Or if they look at it at the micro level of we're 2 goals away from we're 20 minutes, 2 goals away from making it to the next round.
Well, even that too is that they had a chance, and I said this to someone earlier today. They had a chance to beat the Lightning at home in Game 6, and they didn't do it. And I think that was the killer. Tampa Bay in Game 7s is absolute dynamite, especially in the last 2 years. And obviously after a loss, they're what, like 17-0 in the last 2
Yeah,
years.
Vazzy hasn't lost back-to-back games in 2 years.
That's also unbelievable. That stat. That's just goes to show you how resilient the Lightning are and how well coached and the leadership group that is there in Tampa Bay. And Toronto just doesn't have that quite yet. And they almost remind me of the Capitals in a way. This great regular season team with a great, what Matthews, again, he's very young, could be at this Marcel Dion, like in this top 10 all-time scoring when it's all said and done, when his career is wrapped up in who knows what year. But again, with that in mind, like Ovechkin took a long time to get over the hump. They got to the second round, but they never got past the second round until they won the cup in 2019. That was 13 years into Ovi's career, and he stuck with it, stuck with the Capitals. Like, guys just got to go through it. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen overnight, and even we're seeing that with McDavid now. Is that now they've gotten past the first round, first time in a couple of years. They've had some shit that's happened, but again, back to the Leafs here. It sucks. It's painful, and again, they haven't won a cup in years and years. And I don't know what you do, Toronto.
I think if I'm Kyle Dubas, and people say I look like Kyle Dubas,
you are Kyle Dubas.
I am Kyle Dubas, so here's what I would do. Here's what I would do if I'm Kyle Dubas. I think you can make the argument that it's tough to win in the playoffs.
Sure.
Like I think it's really. We had this argument on a podcast not that long ago about how it's easy to make the playoffs. Like you have to be one of the top 16 teams. It's not that hard to make the playoffs. It's hard to win in the playoffs, and it's hard. And it's hard when you're going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that's something that's not being talked about enough. And maybe it's because we view the Lightning differently as a team that doesn't win rounds, they win cups.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we don't talk about the Lightning enough and how talented they are and how ridiculously loaded they are as a team.
Yeah. And year after year, too, they've had, again, their core is pretty well stayed intact. But their role players, their third line, their fourth line, some of their bottom D pairs that have changed a lot, and they've somehow managed to still keep a solid fourth line and get these guys on bargain deals. And like someone like Ross Colton's been so good, and again, not to mention Corey Perry, but he's been very effective in his role. Pat Maroon again is going for his fourth cup in a row, and you can't knock them until they get knocked down, right? It's kind of a safe bet to pick on Tampa Bay because they've done it twice. What's stopping them from doing it again? Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Again, they beat one of the top 6 teams in the first round and a very, very good Leafs team who were built maybe not to beat Tampa Bay, but at least get past the first round. They're a good enough team to get past the first round, and they just didn't. So
I can't argue with any of that. It's really tough not to like Tampa. They played a hell of a series, and even with the loss of Point, I don't know how long he's possibly going to be out for. Who was it? Kucherov too, who was also nursing a bit of an injury near the end. They like even still they were quite resilient. They did not give up. They kept fighting until the very end, and it worked. They're on to the next round to get to play Florida.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's rank these second round playoff matchups in terms of, do we do watchability or intrigue? How do we do entertainment value?
Let's go entertain. Well, those are all kind of interchangeable in a way, but
they're basically a mixture of like all three, of like watchability, entertaining, intrigue. Sure. I think it's a mixture of everything. How are we going to rank these we're going to do a draft, rank these second round playoff matchups. I'll let you have the first pick because I think we know what the first 2 picks are.
Yeah, they're pretty safe. Edmonton, Calgary, the Battle of Alberta is most obviously the most intriguing, entertainment value, exciting series to watch. There's we are Canadian podcasters, so there's a little bit of bias there.
We've been to Alberta. We've traveled to Alberta. Like we're dare I say friend. We have Oilers and Flames friends, but literally both of our dads are Oilers fans. For those that don't know,
Oilers fans, yeah. My roommate this year was an Oilers fan. One of my good buddies is a Flames fan. A lot of guys in the hockey league that I play in are Flames fans. It's gonna be this is kind of a dream situation for the NHL, and I know they're both Canadian teams and Bettman promoting the American market, all that shit, whatever. The fact of the matter is, there's a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs, first time since 91, so first time in many of our lifetimes. If you are not the age of 30-year-olds and younger, first time ever seeing it in person, it's going to be nuts.
And if you're 30 years and if you're 30 years and older and you're listening to this podcast, thank you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Yeah. Wasn't expecting that.
And we're really happy you get to witness another Battle of Alberta, because it's gonna be nuts. It's cool. I'm watching every game of that series. I don't care how late I have to stay up. Like, I will watch that game till the end, because that is kind of like, my Ducks are gone. This is kind of this, like, as soon as this was a possibility, I was like, okay, this better happen for the league's sake, and it has, which is awesome.
Do you have a rooting interest one way or the other?
No, I want this to go 7 games, and I want these guys to
beat the brakes off each other.
More or less, yeah, but not too much, so that one of them, whoever wins, I don't care who wins, will still beat Colorado. That's kind of my wish.
Well, that's assuming Colorado makes the next round.
There you go. Exactly.
So I think with this series, you and I have kind of talked about it a little bit, like potentially leading up to it, where, the Flames are the better team. I think the Flames are the more balanced, more well-rounded.
When you say it like that, yes.
That's how I view that. But here's the thing. I know I just said that, where like they're more balanced, they're more well-rounded. I think they're the better team, like skill-wise, but with more talented players. But
overall, they're a better team, yes. But it's not by much.
But you are going up against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
You're going up against the best player in the league right now.
Yep. Arguably, yeah. And probably the fourth best player in the league right now. On the same team. Yeah. There's an argument to be made. And one of the, dare I say, hottest goalies in the NHL.
I mean, if you told
me about a 41-year-old, but
if you told me 6 months ago that Mike Smith was going to get a shutout in Game 7, I would have been like, "You're fucking joking."
I wouldn't have believed it either, but here we are. This is the playoffs. Third-string goalies have been good somehow. Mike Smith, not a third-string goalie, but he's been good. We've seen some epic, as we usually do in the playoffs, we've seen some epic goaltending performances. And Mike Smith, like you said, shut out in Game 7. He had another shutout. I think it was Game 4. Game 4 or Game
4, I think.
It was Game 2. It was 3. It was Game 3 because it was 6-8-2.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, again,
he's had 2 shutouts against LA.
It's impressive. It is impressive. And the Oilers squeaked it out, won the series, which is good. As they should. They should have made it past the first round. They should have beat the Kings. They did. Here we are. Again, McDavid, he's a god. He's an absolute god. And he put his team on his back in Game 7 with help from Mike Smith. And here they are in the second round. And to your point about the Flames being balanced, you're right. They are a balanced team. Their defense core, arguably better. Their goaltender, arguably better. Forward groups, very interesting because sure, the Flames have better depth, but so do the Oilers. And the Oilers have overall better players. Like if you go 1-to-1, McDavid to Lindholm, for example, McDavid wins that. Draisaitl to Tkachuk, for example. If you go down the list, 1-through 12 or 1-through 13 or whatever for your forwards, the Oilers win most of those battles. But
so then the question becomes, let's go through each team, how they win and why.
sure.
The Oilers win this series with probably McDavid and Draisaitl. Actually, you throw in McDavid and Draisaitl scoring most of the goals. Kane and Hyman scoring a few.
Yeah.
Mike Smith being good enough.
The Oilers staying out of the penalty box. I mean, you could say this for both teams too, is that both teams, whoever stays out of the penalty box the least is most likely to win.
This is like the most, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's saying don't take dumb penalties, stay disciplined in a Battle of Alberta series.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking antithesis of what the series is going to be, because I or at least I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this series it's just going to be an absolute bloodbath, and there'll be felonies taken on each side. But I know what you mean of like both teams for the most part. Edmonton for sure. You gotta stay. You can't be taking the super penalties. You can't be giving your opponent special teams advantage, like man advantages.
And more to this is that both these teams have excellent power plays. The Oilers especially, but the Flames kind of have a slept-on power play, and that's a problem, especially in the playoffs where the power plays and special teams opportunities are so important, and there's so much momentum swing out of even just a simple 2-minute power play that could change a game, could change a series even, and that's again to my point about both teams got to stay out of the box, and that's again, that's how the Oilers will win, that's how the Flames will win. Whoever's the least penalized will win the series. I like it's, and you're right. It's going to be hard, and the officiating will play a significant role in terms of what they let go and what they what they have to call. And I'm very interested to see how that's actually going to happen. We'll see.
The pathway for Calgary to win a strong series from Markstrom, you would think. That's how they beat Dallas.
Yeah. Slow down the Oiler attack through the neutral zone. Drop their speed. It's again when the Oilers are flying, and when McDavid's got speed and he's got wheels, even like Kane, like Hyman can fly too. When these guys are flying through the neutral zone, it's kind of hard to stop. And the Flames defense isn't all that quick. They're fine. They make do, but they play such a heavy, dense game that when it does get into this run and gun, flowy type of offensive track meet, if you will, the Oilers are going to win that every time, as long as Mike Smith holds his own. And so far in the regular season, the playoffs, he has. So again, I talked about that's how the Oilers might win, is they keep it attractive. But if the Flames can slow down and make it a slow and ugly and boring series, that's how they're going to win.
And to your point, Chris Tanev, I don't know what the health is on Tanev.
Unsure, but Michael Stone has been good. He's been good. Yeah.
He scored in game 6, I believe it was, to help the Flames there. Here's the thing. I just think your best guys have to be your best guys right now. I know that's a cliche as well, but you got this far. If you're Calgary, you got this far with Gaudreau, Tkachuk, Lindholm. You need Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Gaudreau to be your best players to win the series.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt.
And I'm curious to see how that goes. I'm curious to see what the matchups are. Who does Edmonton throw out there defensively to shut down that line? I'm guessing Nurse and whoever. But I mean that's just it. And obviously, It goes with Edmonton too. Your top guys have to be your top guys. That's McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane and Hyman have stepped up.
Yeah.
Archibald.
Archibald has been really good.
Archibald's been noticeable.
Yeah. Yamamoto, again, in the later part of that Oiler Los Angeles series, Yamamoto playing with Draisaitl McDavid was huge, and again, doesn't really get all the credit, all the attention, but he does his job. Does hard on the forecheck, gets the pucks out for the big boys to do their thing and put the puck in the net. And again, a key piece, and hopefully Puljujarvi can have a big bounce back series because again, to beat the Flames, the Oilers are going to need everyone.
The Yamamoto, I'm glad you mentioned him. That dude was banging bodies, in the series against LA. He was not afraid to throw his weight around. I'm taller than Kyler Yamamoto, but that dude was not afraid to throw his body around.
I think there was a game. It was either game 5 or 6 where he sat for pretty well a whole period, or it might have been 10, 15 minutes of a period. And normally he's playing first, second line, right? So to him, this is okay, this is a wake up call. And you saw him after that stretch of time. He came out like a rocket, and he was running everyone over and really hard on the forecheck, doing the ugly things to get his game going, get the team going. And again, to that point, you need everyone, and Yamamoto's no exception. If he's gonna be like that, look out.
Who's your pick and why?
Oh, either way I go, I'm gonna upset people here, but it's going 7 games. I don't think there's any. Well, there is a way it could be less, but it's not likely.
If it's going to be less than 7, I think the Flames are winning it.
I think it's the other way, but I think it's the other way. I think the Oilers, if the Oilers win, it's going to be in 6. If the Flames win, it's going to be 7. I'm going to say, I'm going to say Calgary in 7 games because they do have home ice advantage, which is going to be huge in this series. And that Calgary barn gets rocking when and especially for these 2 weeks, it's going to be ballistic. So I'm going to say Calgary in 7 just because they have home ice advantage. That's it. That's the only reason why.
I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. I know some people think I have an anti-Oilers bias. I don't. I don't have an anti-Oilers bias. I don't want the Oilers to lose. I'm just a Connor McDavid mental health advocate. I want to make sure McDavid's, doing well. He's the best player in the league. It's a shame that he has to play in Edmonton and, play in one of the smallest markets when he could be in LA or New York and just be an absolute star. With that all being said, I have the Oilers in 7 games.
Wow.
Against the Calgary Flames. I think I said Calgary St. Louis conference final. I can't bet against Connor McDavid. Here's the thing. This is a legacy series. This is a legacy series for Kachuk, for Gaudreau, for Markstrom and for all those guys, right?
For everyone involved.
Involved.
This is one of the. I think we haven't stated this enough. This is the marquee playoff series of this playoffs. Doesn't matter who plays in the Stanley Cup final. This is the series that we have been waiting for 31 years. So,
with that being said, if McDavid is the guy we all think he is, and the guy he's played like this entire, throughout his entire career, he's going to show up for this series.
Is he ever?
And I don't want to be the guy who goes against that. Yeah. I don't want to be the guy who bets against the Oilers because of whatever reason. I want to be the guy who I'm not, and this isn't even a bet on the Oilers per se, because I think they do have a good team. I think this is more of a bet on Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, but mostly McDavid, that McDavid will be the guy who is not losing to the Calgary Flames in the second round.
Yeah. It feels, again,
because here's the thing, I think for these two teams, this is their Stanley Cup final. This is, if they don't win the cup, this is their second best,
Yeah, fair enough.
I know we were talking about this yesterday, and I want to throw the hot take out that I had yesterday for you later that I'm workshopping, but I don't want to be the guy who bets against McDavid. I don't want to be the guy who goes against him.
Yeah, this series really could go either way. I hate to pick the Flames over the Oilers, and I hate to pick the Oilers over the Flames. Like, it's just there's no right answer. Like, literally either team could win, and because it's a battle of Alberta, even if the Flames were significantly a better team or the Oilers are significantly better, it doesn't mean they have a that much better chance. Like, it's can't state it enough. This is the most important series of these playoffs.
It's going to be really, really special. Okay, so we spent a bunch of time talking about Calgary and Edmonton, rightfully so. I'm going to give we could probably, not Zoom, but we'll get through these other series probably much faster. Let's do this. The second best series in the second round is the Battle of Florida. It's Tampa Bay and Florida. This is a rematch of the first round series last year in the, not the weird, but the different 2021 playoff season. Here's the thing. I don't know what else there is to say except that these are probably two of the 5 best teams in the NHL.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
going head to head. They're all really talented. They're both really talented, loaded from top to bottom. I have a bit of an issue picking one or the other, kind of like you and I with Calgary Edmonton. It's a bit tough to pick one of these teams to advance. But what are you looking forward to the most in this series?
Again, people don't. Again, maybe it's because it's a Florida-based rivalry. These two teams don't like each other. They don't. That's just how it is. They're both really good teams. They're both they both have loaded forward groups. They've both got, again, Hedman's probably better than Ekblad, but they both have elite defensemen on their team and an overall really good defense group. And they've got Vasilevsky's the brick wall, obviously, but great goaltending, again, both in Florida and Tampa Bay. To your point, this is kind of like the Calgary Edmonton. It's going to be who stays out of the box the least, because, again, this is another situation where both these power plays are kind of really good. And Florida's got two really solid units. Tampa Bay's got their one, like, out of this world power play unit. But, like, I don't know. Like, who do you pick? That's kind of it's probably gonna go 7 games as well. And if it's less, I'll be shocked. Or there'll have to be some sort of significant injury to derail something. Like if a Kucherov is out long term or a Barkov isn't gonna play all series kind of thing. If that happens, not that it will, that'll play a huge role. And hopefully it doesn't happen, because I'd love to see 7 games of these great series. This is going to be a great series as well. And again, very important in the playoffs picture, because one of these teams is likely going to the Cup final, but we'll see.
The key difference, I think, in this series compared to last year is Aaron Ekblad. Like, that was that was the biggest storyline probably outside of the hockey, was that there was no Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah.
And Aaron Ekblad, like you say, he's not quite, I don't think, on the same tier as Hedman, but he's probably a tier below.
He's close. That's how good, he's really close, yeah.
Like, that's how good Aaron Ekblad is. Yep. He will make an impact for Florida. He'll be somebody who, I don't know who, probably Kucherov, but again, points out, I don't know if they're going to, target anybody specifically on Tampa Bay, or they just have, Ekblad playing 30 minutes and just being a shutdown guy, whoever.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that Ekblad-Weegar pair is one of the best pairs in the NHL. And Tampa Bay doesn't quite have the same, just based on their pairings and their chemistry. And that, again, not that that'll play a significant difference, but again, you're going to probably see those two playing against, especially when Florida's at home, playing against Kucherov, Stamkos, and the Palat line, right? So, and again, if points in, then that again. Here's the thing: Florida's defense is so good that I don't mind putting Gudis and Forsling against the point line. Again, the point line might eat them alive, but they also might not. So, and then your third pairing is Montour and Sherratt. And Sherratt was first pairing on last year's Stanley Cup finalist Montreal. So
the Florida D core, like that's just a mean group to play against.
It's
maybe not the most talented group, but do you want to go up against Radko Gudas? Do you want to go up against Brandon Montour? Do you want to go up against Ben Sherratt? No, I don't want to mess with.
And then if you don't like them, you get Ekblad and Uyghur, who are two. Ekblad probably is an he is an all-star, and Uyghur is like on the cusp of being that. He's very, very underrated.
Yeah.
People don't give enough credit for how good he is.
And so that's one difference in this series.
Yeah.
The other difference intriguing thing is Bobrovsky, the resurgence of Bobrovsky. He's again not quite on the same level as Vasi is.
Same with the Ekblad thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the goaltending, I mean, again, kudos to Spencer Knight last year for trying to make it interesting. But I mean, it's probably Tampa Bay probably has the advantage in goalie.
Yep.
The forward group is pretty close. Carter Verhaeghe was the leading scorer for Florida, wasn't he, in the first? Carter Verhaeghe was just really good, and he's their fifth best forward.
Honestly, even less.
Less.
You could argue he's probably their sixth best forward behind Barkov, Hubert. Hubert or Barkov 1 and 2. Giroux, Reinhart, Duclair has been really good. Lundell's been amazing. Like when you have Barkov and you have Barkov 2.0 on your third line, like this forward group is so good. And Reinhardt's on your third, Sam Morin, second overall pick on your third line playing wing. And like depending how you look at it, Hubert doesn't even play first. He's not even first line. And also let's not forget about Sam Bennett.
I was just thinking about Sam Bennett too. I didn't want to interrupt you, but Sam Bennett is a contributing factor on this Panthers team.
And he's a playoff player. As I watched a bit of that Florida-Washington series, he's built for the playoffs, and I think he's been waiting for his opportunity to play significant minutes in the playoffs, and that's kind of what when he was in Calgary, kind of a bust. Not gonna lie, but as soon as he got to Florida, it took off. For whatever reason, however it worked out, maybe just a change of scenery, fresh teammates, fresh arena, fresh whatever. Good for him. Good big resurgence from him. I've always been kind of a hopeful that he was going to turn it around, and sure enough, he did.
You've always had Sam Bennett stock.
Yeah.
So then the question: who wins and why?
Kind of the same. Florida's going to win in 7 games. Home ice is going to be very huge, although it is Florida. They get fans for the playoff games. But still, Tampa's barn gets rocking. Florida's going to win 7 games. I just think their forward group's going to be too much for that Tampa defense to handle. And now, again, grueling 7-game series to start. Florida had a bump, but they got through Washington fairly easily. And the residual fatigue effect of Tampa Bay playing long into seasons for the last couple years, I think it's going to catch up to them. It will catch up to them at some point, and I think it's going to be this series.
I know what you mean. I feel like with the Lightning, there's going to be a bit of a brain drain after going 7 games with the Leafs.
Yeah, and no easy series there, because they had to scrap and claw their way out of Game 6, and then they had to scrap and claw to win Game 7. When they were down on behind the gun 3-2, right?
It took 2 Nick Paul goals to get the Lightning to beat the Maple Leafs in Game 7.
Yeah.
They battle hard. they're nasty. The Lightning are nasty, both in terms of skill, and the Lightning don't give a shit about you. I've talked about this before. You have to have that. We don't give a shit about you or what you do or who you are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
they're very battle tested, and you can see it. They're just grizzled, like all of them. Even their younger guys, they're all grizzled veterans, and just even like a guy
Mikhail
like
Sergachev. Mikhail Sergachev is a dude who is not afraid to just
nope.
get into shit.
How Foot again? His dad was kind of the same way as he was, but still, you got to experience it. You got to do it, and he's doing it. He's bought in. Again, John Cooper is such a great coach, and every single player on that team's bought in, and that's why they've been so good the last few years. But again, Florida's so damn good though, and this is might be a track meet series. It might be, depending on how the goalies play. It could be like 6-4 every game, or it could be like a 7 or 7-5 couple games here and there. Like, it's not. I don't think it'll be a low scoring series unless both goalies stand on their head. Then we'll see.
So you took the Panthers to win in 7.
Yeah, but I'm not confident because again, you talked about it earlier. Don't bet against Tampa Bay because they've won the cup the last 2 years. It's like don't bet against Connor McDavid. I have a really hard time picking Florida and Calgary because of the other factors involved with Edmonton and Tampa Bay.
So it's funny you pick Florida because I'm going to pick Tampa Bay.
There you go.
I'm going to go with Tampa in 6.
Oh,
I think the Lightning are. I don't even know if they're a better team, but I think they'll find a way. When there's a will, there's a way. They'll get it done. They'll do it. They have, and I'm just going to probably keep picking them until they don't do it. Yeah. And like I said, there's probably a brain drain coming. You and I both said there's probably a fall off coming here in terms of just like exhorting all their energy.
Yeah.
With that being said, I got to go with the Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Florida. I think they're a really talented team. They're really fun to watch. I'm going to go with the team I know in Tampa Bay Lightning.
I like it. That's a good pick.
So
good pick.
We got 2 series left in terms of ranking for the second round. I think I know which one you're going to pick for the third pick, but I'm curious as to who you are actually going to take. Scott, who do you have?
So, again, based on the criteria, so entertainment value, intrigue, interest in the series, pure league intrigue, and importance of the series, Colorado St. Louis is my next pick. And that's what you thought too. It's, again, this is a series where I don't know. This isn't to the level that Battle of Alberta, Battle of Florida are, but it's close because St. Louis is probably one of the 3 teams in this league that can beat Colorado in a 7-game series. And that's going to make this series very interesting.
So Colorado is a fascinating team.
Are they?
And here's the thing. We have to talk about Colorado because they are the favorites. They are expected to win this series. Yes. They are the more talented team. They have the more star power on this team. We like to talk about stars. We like to talk about talented players.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think there's an argument to be made that jobs could be lost in Colorado if they lose this series. If we're talking about people in Toronto losing jobs for how good they were this year, and they lost, I think we can start talking about Jared Bednar, Joe Sakic possibly losing jobs. And I don't want to see people lose jobs. I'm not saying they should, but I think there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of chaos if they don't win.
Yeah. And to your point, I don't think this is a Joe Sakic issue. He has done more than enough to provide a team that can win the Stanley Cup. They've got would you say the best defense core in the NHL?
Yeah, probably.
Arguably, it's like Florida might be up there, Tampa Bay maybe. I would still say Colorado
If
got the
you're
best defensive core.
if you're building a D, like if you're gonna build a D core,
Yeah,
Colorado's is probably,
and longevity wise too, in terms
yeah.
of age of some of these players, like I would say the Avalanche win. You could say they've got the most undervalued center, top line center in the NHL, Nathan McKinnon, who's not even making $7 million. You could argue that Nazem Kadri is still one of the most underrated second line centers in the league.
It's the best year of Kadri we're ever probably going to see. Like, it's a contract year, Nazem Kadri. I don't know if we're going to see a better year from him. You might as well take advantage of it while you can.
While you can, yeah. And as long as the goaltending might be a question mark, but Kemper, as long as he's good,
Good enough. Like we said with Mike Smith, is he good enough?
he again reminds me of the Corey Crawford thing. Like Corey Crawford wasn't a star goalie. He was just good. He was a good starter, got the job done, and stopped the pucks when he needed to, and his team out in front of him did the rest and did what they needed. And this, yeah, it's gonna. The Blues are in for a wild ride if they can beat the Avs 4 to 7 times. Wow, this is gonna throw this playoffs into an absolute blender if that happens. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would love it if it did. That would be one hell of a storyline in Colorado if they lose again in the second round with how good they are.
With how good they are, um, like you say, the value they're getting. Nobody gets. I don't know if anybody gets more value out of their team than the Avs do. Like dollar for dollar.
Nope. No one makes
And,
more than 10 million on that team. Rantanen's the highest at 9.6. Makar's at 9. And that's undervalued for him, in my opinion. McKinnon is absurdly below value at 6.5. Like,
this is a team you if you're Colorado, I don't know if you put all the cards on the table, but everything has led to this.
yeah,
Trading 2 second round picks for Devon Taves.
it's a win in my books, by the way.
Big win. Big win. Drafting and developing Cale Makar, Ambo, and Byram.
Yeah. And let's not forget about Alex Newhook here. This is 3 years in a row that they, or maybe it was within the 3-year period, they went Makar, and they took Newhook, or they took Byram in 19, and they took Newhook later that year. Like, unbelievable how they were able to do that.
You've drafted all these really talented players in the last few years. You've developed them into ready now. You've had Nate McKinnon and Gabriel Landeskog for so long.
Yeah,
it's time. It's time if you're the Colorado Avalanche to do it.
I think it's, well, not to state the obvious, it's Stanley Cup or bust for this team. And we've talked about it all year, though. We have talked about it all year. They should be the best team in the National Hockey League. They did not win the President's Trophy, but they are pretty well and away the best team in the NHL.
And if you lose in the second round to the St. Louis Blues, there's going to be shit to pay. There's going to be a lot of question marks, and I'm curious to see how that goes. I know
yeah. Here's the thing about St. Louis, though, is that they're a team that can do it. They shouldn't be able to. Let's make that very clear. The Avalanche should win this series, but the Blues can beat them. And it's going to be a whole team effort, and that O'Reilly-Perron line is going to give McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog absolute fits, and they're not going to get anything going. And guys like Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, kind of like a little bit of slept-on players. Kyrou won the fastest skater this year, but he's still a slept-on player. They're going to do some dirty stuff in this round.
I was going to say, I've been the biggest Blues stan, I think, this year.
Yep. Yeah.
I like their goaltending. As much as people like to shit on Binnington's getting hot at the right time. I think their defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Not the it's a good, not great decor that can do a lot of things well.
Yep. Agreed. And the thing with the Blues is that they're a heavy team and they're physical, and the Avalanche are close, but they're just not quite at that level physically. And that might cause issues, especially if the Blues can find a way to slow down the Avalanche.
St. Louis is the St. Louis and Calgary for myself are the textbook definition. I say this a lot. I'm a broken record. We do not give a shit about you. We do not care who you are and what you do. We are just going to we're going to beat the shit out of you. We're going to beat you. Have fun. Good luck for.
Let's not forget, a lot of this Blues team has won a cup, and the Avalanche have not. Sure, the Avs have some players that have done it, but most of this Blues team, they have Stanley Cup experience. They've been there before. They know what it takes.
That's a team that's a team.
Again, in any other year, this could be the number one series in our ranking, just because of how good this is going to be. Avalanche should win, but so I mean, in the first round, we said Calgary would wipe the Stars, Edmonton would wipe the Kings, and that just didn't happen. This series could be the same. You just don't know.
Who's your pick and why?
Colorado in 6. With all this Blues talk, the Avalanche are still the better team, and I think to your point, you said something really interesting. You said it's time, and I think this is their year. I really do, and I just think the way the Avalanche dismantled the Predators, albeit with a third-string goalie and some injuries. Yeah, Avalanche in 6, they're so good. McKinnon's gonna be on another level, and I know I picked Calgary, but it would be really cool to see McKinnon McDavid in the 3rd round.
It's now or never for the Avs.
I wouldn't say never.
Here's the thing. It feels like what I said about the Capitals, and I was wrong about the Capitals in 2018 or 27-18 when I said if they were going to do it, they would have already done it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I'm feeling if Colorado doesn't do it this year.
Right.
With this core.
Right.
But, like you say, they're the better team.
They're the better team, but I don't mind the now or never, but they're still young, and they still a lot of their players are locked up for a couple years here. So we'll see.
I've been riding the Blues all year. I've been standing the Blues. I got to take them. I think the Blues are going to beat the Avalanche in 6 games. I just think the Blues play that playoff hockey that we like.
Wow.
I don't. It's a playoff thing that I think you just have it. You know what I mean? Like I think you just know how to win and play. And it sounds stupid. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I think
you're either a playoff team or you're not, and the Blues are.
And the Blues are. It's why Toronto It's why Toronto fails in the first round. I mean, it's why the Oilers have struggled in most years. It's why the Penguins were so good for so many years. It's because the Penguins, even the fact that the Penguins got to 7 games, got to the first round with nobodies, they have that thing in them and that team that just gets them to be successful. And I think the Blues have it, and I don't know that Colorado does. And that's why I think the Blues will win in 6 games.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
It's a very hot take, but I like that we're picking these different teams. Every pick so far, we've picked different.
It's this weird thing of like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. But it's that playoff thing. Yeah. That.
I know what you're trying to say. I gotcha.
So let's talk about this last series then. Rangers Carolina, which it's a rematch of the 2020 qualifying round with with the Rangers and Carolina. I want to say similar teams in the fact that not a lot, but a few players on the Hurricanes are Rangers, or a lot of players were former Rangers, like Brandon Smith, Tony DeAngelo.
Yep.
Who else am I missing? Antti Ranta?
Brady Shea
is
another one.
So the Hurricanes and Rangers are kind of familiar with one another in that regard. This is probably, I think, one of the reasons why this is one of the lowest rated series is because it's one of the more lopsided, favorable. I don't think it's going to be as close as maybe the other series are going to be.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with that.
Which it's kind of a shame because I think Carolina will win. They should win.
Yeah.
The problem is that you have to go up against one of the best goalies in the NHL right now, in Igor Shesterkin, who, God bless him, the dude figured it out how to, put it all together in the last couple of games to give his team a chance to get to the next round. It was looking dim for a while there for New York, but here they are. They get the opportunity to play Carolina. What are you looking forward to in this matchup with the Canes and the Rangers?
I've been kind of like you're a Blues stan. I've been a Hurricane stan for a long time, and I loved how they play the game. And I was talking to someone about this upcoming series, and the Hurricanes will eat you alive in transition. And I think the Rangers are kind of a young team. They tend to turn the puck over a lot in the neutral zone. I kind of watched that in the Rangers-Penguins game, even just like last night, and just in the whole series. The Rangers, I don't watch the Rangers very often. So I saw they tend to turn the puck over a lot in the neutral zone. And with Carolina's pretty solid D-core, again, one of the better defense cores in the NHL, and how good their transition game is, the Hurricanes will eat the Rangers alive. And you're going to see a lot of off the rush opportunities, off turnovers that are going to go in the net. And the Hurricanes, you're right, it won't be as close as the other series, but the Hurricanes will still win. And unless, here's again,
I was gonna ask you, what's the Rangers' pathway to winning? Is it just Igor
Shesterkin? And Panarin's got to get it going. He did score the overtime winner, but he was pretty quiet all series outside of that goal. And it's the thing we were talking about. It's the thing we were talking about earlier about your best players have to be your best players. Absolutely, yeah. And Kreider's Savannah has to be good. Fox has to be a menace against the Hurricanes. I just don't think he's going to be. I just think the Hurricanes are too good. I think they're too quick, and their transition game. I could rave about their transition game for years, but they're just so damn good, and they're so well coached. Brendan Moore's been to a cup. He knows what it takes. Some of these guys on the team have also been to the cup final, I believe, and it's like,
hey, Jesperi Kotkaniemi's been to a cup final.
He has been to a cup final. That's true. But no, it's like, yeah.
I was going to say, but this is one of my favorite coaching matchups.
Sure. Yeah.
With Brendan Moore and Gallant, I think this is going to be a really fun coaching matchup.
I like that.
They never really coached. I mean, maybe when Gallant was back in Florida, but even then they weren't in the same division, and they don't I think what these first couple of games are going to be is kind of a feeling out.
Yep.
I see it. I think we could see a split in Raleigh, just because I think they're feeling out. They're maybe not totally comfortable with one another. They're still trying to get adjusted to everything. And listen, as much as it's Colorado series to lose against the Blues, it's Carolina's series to lose against the Rangers. This is a series that Carolina has to. We think highly about Carolina, how they built their team, how they've been, setting up to win now. This is that year.
Yeah,
this is a chance to do it, and I know that Carolina isn't completely healthy in net, but
I think Anderson will be back I think he'll be back for at least some of the series, if not game one. I think he's listed as day-to-day right now. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. There's no arguing here. Carolina should win the series. The Rangers are good, but they're not Carolina good. And the Hurricanes should win it in 6.
And I think even from the Rangers' perspective, if they bow out in 6 games to the Hurricanes, I think that's kind of better. Like, if you're going back to preseason predictions, I think that's kind of better, or at least at best on par with how we thought the Rangers were going to do this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I would have been impressed had the Rangers gotten past the second round. I wasn't really impressed. They're just, again, they're still an up-and-coming team. They're still fairly young. Sure, some of their guys are a bit older, but again, look at that third line. Like, I think the combined age on the third line is, oh my gosh, like under 65 between 3 players. Like, the average age on the line is like 22 years old or 21 maybe.
And I was gonna say, like, to your point, like, last series was kind of the Kakko laugh coming out party.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, a little bit.
Like they were more impactful than Panarin. I know Panarin scored that overtime goal, but it sure felt like, maybe that's just eye test and not analytical, but it sure felt like watching it, like, man, Laugh and Kakko are not afraid to put a shot on net.
Get in there and but again, those two play different games than Panarin.
Yeah.
Which, you're right, eye test, you're right. Panarin wasn't really that noticeable. But again, he's a little guy in a playoff series, which doesn't matter who you are. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be physical, even if you have 2 of the smallest teams in the NHL. It's just how playoff hockey is. But that's not Panarin's game. Panarin's unbelievable perimeter player, perimeter passer. Like, he sees shit that I don't see.
And I can't see it because I wear glasses.
There you go. Like, Panarin, he's an unbelievable hockey player. There's no doubting that. He's not really built for playoffs, but he's a big name player that if he's gonna help carry his team to win, which I don't think they're going to, but if they do, Panarin's gonna have to play a big part of
it. Quickly, your picks here. I'm assuming you and I, this is the only series that we're going to agree on here. Hurricanes.
I'm going to say 6 games.
Okay. I'm going to say 6.
Yeah. Like, it might be 5. I don't think it's going to go more than 6, though.
I will say, fucking Alberta is pretty hardcore, but Madison Square Garden might be one of my favorite home ice advantages in all of the NHL.
Oh, you got it. You can't sleep on the storm surge, though. Hurricanes fans are nuts too. See that, and that's the thing now, is that all 8 teams left have, other than maybe Florida, have really good fan bases, right? And it's impressive actually how some of these southern teams, like even not that Nashville was going through, but Nashville's got a really good fan base. And again, we've talked about this at length, the marketability and how good some NHL franchises have been able to bring fans to the games and make their teams, make it an event worth. Like, I want to go to a game in Nashville. I don't know about you.
I kind of wanted to go after that series against Calgary. I kind of want to go see a game in Dallas. That arena looks cool. Yeah. That fan base looks like a passionate, like,
they were rocking. Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of want to go see a game in Dallas. It just, I don't know. It's
the playoff, funny. Man. In all honesty, like, the playoffs are just, again, this really is the best time of the year. It's, start of spring, playoffs are coming. Like, the playoffs are the best thing in the world.
It's the greatest drug out there is NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's the best hockey, and sure, you might not have the highest quality of hockey, but again, it's the importance of the games, the precedence of some of these games, and especially some of these series. This might be, not gonna lie to you, one of the best second rounds of all time. We haven't even started, right? You just don't know. Again, there's a possibility all four of these series go 7 games. There's a possibility. I don't think it will happen, but there's a chance.
You got the top team in each division still alive.
Yep.
You got talented play, like you got the best player. You got a lot of marketable players out there still playing. It's gonna be fucking epic.
Yeah, it is gonna be fucking epic.
All right, Scott. I know I'm keeping you up past your bedtime, but we'll do a couple of quick things here. Any other storylines from round one or the playoffs so far that you want to talk about or we should discuss?
Yeah. I think I mentioned this earlier tonight, but that Calgary-Dallas Game 7 was unbelievable. I did stay up well past my bedtime to finish watching the rest of the game, but worth it. Absolutely worth it for that game. And to that point, I want to just shout out Jake Ottinger for quite possibly the greatest goaltending performance of all time that I've ever seen. Maybe top 5 ever in any competition. The Flames were dismantling the Stars on the scoreboard, in possession, you name it, shot clock. This game was 2-2 going overtime, and it was scary. If I'm a Flames fan, I was shitting my pants, like for that whole overtime because of the chances that Dallas got and just how the game happened and like how damn good Ottinger was. There were I think there was probably 4 10-bell saves he made in overtime. And it took a perfect shot to beat him. I don't care, guys got to be up on his whatever. Point is, Gaudreau beat him with a perfect shot, knuckle puck, right in the bright bar down. Like you might take that shot 100 times, you might make it one more time ever from that spot. Like Gaudreau is very good. He might do it more than that, but the point is, Ottinger stood on his head beyond means, and he's the reason. He is probably he is the sole reason that series went even close to 7 games. It was because of him. Unbelievable he was.
Yeah, they had no business. The Dallas Stars had no business going to 7 games. That team stinks. I think they have some solid pieces with Jason Robertson, Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
Hintz is really good. Pavelski.
Another big thing, they were missing Hintz last night. Yeah. I think that was a huge loss that people haven't talked about enough. Either way, good for Calgary. They got it done. But man, did Ottinger put a scare into hundreds and thousands of Flames fans, both inside and outside of Stadium.
Ottinger is probably the first round MVP, and he lost. Like
it's funny. Ottinger might even get Conn Smythe consideration all the way in the Stanley Cup final. He might. He was that good.
Yeah, and I know like that includes like the game 2 shutout. Just all together, the dude was just really fucking good.
Because I think he had like a .954 save percentage.
He had the best save. Like him and Markstrom had the best save percent, like 2 of the 3 best save percentages in the first round. And Ottinger, I like you say, it's at least 950. Like dude
it was 954 was the number.
So, dude is stopping like over 95% of the shots he's facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He saw 6. I think he made 64 saves last night, which was a franchise record. Calgary Flames shot record for a playoff game was last night. Like, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, the guy was unbelievable, and I think really good. He's gonna get a lot of love, as he should. And I think the Stars are sitting pretty with their goalie situation because of how damn good Jake Ottinger is. I think they're gonna be happy with their goaltending for the next 10, 12 years.
I want to throw out a team I want to talk about a little bit. It's the LA Kings. I've kind of been on a little bit of their bandwagon the last couple of years. Like I've been high. Yeah, no, I'm talking about them. I know you aren't. Somebody has to. You and I mean, you probably were a little bit biased in your pick for the Oilers over the Kings. maybe there's maybe a little trace, maybe possibly in that pick, but just a little bit. But I think the Kings, kudos to Jonathan Quick, who turned back the clock to try and give his team every chance to do well. Trevor Moore is a guy who, if I was an NHL GM, I'd probably trade for at least once. Like, that dude just seems like a guy I would want on my team, who plays physical, who plays tough, who I think he's even like a bit of a special teamer, penalty killer with the Kings. That's a guy I probably would trade for. Blake Lizotte is solid. Like the Kings. Here's the thing: the Kings were not going to win the cup this year. I don't know if I think I maybe had them making the playoffs. I don't know if you did. I think they're a team that are still maybe one or two pieces away. They probably need to figure out a real legit number one option in net. They probably need to figure out some defense. Like, Drew Doughty's getting old. Doughty didn't play in any of the playoffs. He's got a shit contract coming up. He's on the wrong side of 30. They probably need to figure something out there. But kudos to the LA Kings for pushing that game to 7, or pushing that series to 7, playing their hearts out. Carl Grunstrom, like, I could go on about like the guys who I was just like impressed with this entire postseason.
Absolutely, and again, Sean Durzi was another guy that kind of comes to mind. Very unexpected, kind of filled Doughty's role very well, and sure, there's a lot of bias here. I don't like the Kings. No, everyone knows that. But they were good, and I think they're ahead of schedule on the rebuild. Byfield and Turcotte Byfield played regular season, but he didn't really play a whole lot. He played 2 games in the playoffs and was a healthy scratch. Turcotte has barely played in the NHL, and he'll be really good once he's coming up and through the system. And the Kings are an exciting team, and they're close. Like you just said, they're close. They got to figure out a goalie. They got to figure out how to replace Brown, because he's now officially retired. Also, shout out Dustin Brown for his career. Congrats to him and wish him the best. Kopitar's on his way out the door pretty quickly here too, is my guess. And it's, I don't know, man. Like, the Kings are going to be good in about 3 or 4 years. Just wait.
Troy Stetcher too.
He's still one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So that was that. I want to do a quick little shout out on the Kings. Scott, I think there's 2 options here we can do. I'm going to give you a choice. We can do a little would you rather, because you and I were having some fun debates over the weekend, or we could do a little news rundown and give your thoughts on news like Islanders got a new coach, Patrice Bergeron maybe not coming back. What would you rather do?
Ooh, let's do would you rather, because I think we can do that rundown later when the playoffs aren't taking precedence. I think that's the important part. We can talk about the changes and stuff after the playoffs.
Sure. Okay, I like that. So here's this premise. Scott and I were hanging out this weekend, and we were talking about the Maple Leafs because they lost on Saturday night. And I threw out the question of, would you rather have John Tavares or Mark Scheifele? Because Scott's a big Mark Scheifele guy. So I think we both came to the conclusion, because we included salary in this discussion.
Yes, we did.
Because Tavares, I think, has another year and $5 million more on cap than Scheifele does. So you're probably going to take Scheifele. But I'm gonna throw out 3 different would you rathers.
Sure, bring it.
And I want you to tell me, who would you rather have right now?
Okay.
With their current cap.
Right.
We're gonna include salary cap in this.
Bring it.
This one is a fun one, and I'm gonna start you off a bit heavy here.
Okay.
Would you rather have right now?
Yep.
build a team. Sidney Crosby or
Okay.
Alex Ovechkin?
Right now.
Right now.
I've got to build a franchise.
You're basically an expansion team.
Right. Oh.
And it's basically like the fantasy draft that you get to do almost.
Dude, I love Ovi so much, but I'm such a I need a top line center, I need a top defenseman, I need a top goalie kind of guy. We can build wingers later. I can't. I hate going against Ovi. I love Ovi. I'm gonna say Crosby just for the sake of building a team, but I don't like it. I don't like this debate. Can I have both?
No, you can only have one. Do you know, fun fact, who has more regular season points? Without looking it up, who has more regular season points, Crosby or Ovi?
Ovechkin does, but he has played way more games.
It's actually not as close as you think. Ovi has 1,410 points. Yep. Crosby has 1,409. Ovi has one more regular season point in their careers between Crosby and Ovechkin.
Wow. And Crosby played how many less games? Like 200 less games?
Crosby has played Crosby has played 1,108. Ovi's played 1,274.
Okay, so it's about 170 games apart.
About 2 seasons worth. Ovi has played 2 seasons worth of games.
I thought it was I thought it was a bigger gap. Just goes to show you how good Crosby's been, even though he's been mired with lockout and injuries and whatnot. Wow. It's impressive.
Second, would you rather?
Yes.
Patrick Laine.
Yep.
Or Matthew Tkachuk?
It's pretty easy. Matt Tkachuk.
Is it? You rather have? Okay. I think. Okay. I wanted to ask that.
I'll give you the reason why. I'll give you several good reasons why. Actually, Laine is not a leader, and he's not a guy I would want to build my team around. That's. I don't think that's a hot take. I think it's just a fact. Laine is as good of a player as he is. He's kind of like a Phil Kessel in a way. He'll be really good. He's really good on a team where he doesn't have to be the guy.
Okay.
Where he's like, I won't say a 1B, but he's like the kind of like the Robin in a way to a Batman, for example. Like he's in Winnipeg. It was weird because he was kind of the guy, but kind of not. So he didn't know what he was doing. Columbus, kind of the guy. He's doing good. He had a good year this year. So he's doing okay. But I really think Laine has got to be, again, Laine and Tkachuk, 2 very different situations on their teams. Yeah. And that definitely plays a role. But I would say I definitely want Tkachuk on my team. He's a better leader, better playoff player, and scores relative to all the other things that Tkachuk brings, scores enough to make it way more worth it to bring Tkachuk on versus Laine.
The reason I ask is both of them are upcoming RFAs.
Right.
Laine actually made more than Tkachuk this past year. Laine's cap hit was 7.5. Tkachuk's was 7.
7, right.
Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk had not a resurgence, but people got to see how good he really was this year.
A career year.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and again, let's not forget too is that a lot of these like 2016, 17, 18 draft guys haven't really had a set of full seasons because they've had interruptions, they've had shortened seasons, they've had COVID protocols and shit to deal with. This is like for some of these guys, this is their first like I'm in the NHL, I'm kind of a veteran, full year. Let's show the world what we got. And this was kind of Tkachuk's first year to do it.
So, no, I like that. I think it's that's probably the right answer, but I just want to see. I want to see. I just want to see.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, this one, it's a really fascinating one. Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes? Who would you rather build your team around right now?
Pretty sure we've talked about this one before.
Okay, I can do another one. I got one more. I got set up then.
I'm gonna say Makar, but it's damn close. I'm gonna say Makar, just based on the fact that he's a little bit bigger and can play a little bit better defense, in my opinion. But it's damn close.
So let's do
another one though.
do another one.
Sure.
Austin Matthews.
Okay.
Or Leon Draisaitl.
Now, here we go. As good as Matthews is, you know how much I put importance on defensive play. And Matthews is good defensively. Don't get me wrong. He's not bad.
I should mention, throw this out there. Cap hits are a thing.
Yeah, that's a consideration.
That wasn't really much of a thing with Makar and Hughes because it wasn't I think it's like $1 million difference between the two of them.
Yeah. But Draisaitl Matthews is a big gap, and you're right. You're absolutely right, and that kind of has factored into my decision. Draisaitl's my pick because, like McKinnon, he is severely undervalued as well. And Draisaitl he plays with edge. He's mean. He's a big guy. He can skate. He's one of the best passers in the league. He does not lose many faceoffs. He's pretty damn good defensively in his own zone. And sure, McKinnon's helped him a lot, but I feel like on most NHL teams, he could carry his own team, no problem.
I think I would go with Matthews.
And that's here's the thing is that with as I said off the bat, as good as Matthews is, he is so damn good, and 60 goals is nothing to be slept on. I love Matthews. I think I've gotten a lot of respect for him and what he can do, but man, Draisaitl just such just as a piece, as a player, as a guy on a team, such an attractive player to have a 6'3". Let's be real, 6'3" first line center who's can kill penalties, lays the body, unbelievable playmaker, unbelievable shooter as well. Let's not forget about that, and just really, really, really good at hockey.
I'm going to do one more here for you. We haven't done a goalie one, so I'm going to do a goalie one.
Yeah.
UC Saros
Yep.
or Thatcher Demko.
Oh my gosh. You're joking.
Now, for context, Saros is 27, Demko 26. They both are making $5 million over the next 2 years.
You're killing me, dude. You're killing me.
I can't 4 years for Saros and
another 4 years for Demko, I think. Another after this one.
4 years, not 2 years, 4 years. Saros or Demko, you have to build your team around one of those players.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I love Demko, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's the popular decision, and people aren't going to like me for this, but I'm going to say Saros. I don't know why. I can't give you a good reason why. I just can't, because Demko is just as good, and they're just different goalies. They're slightly different. They're both damn good goalies.
They're both built different.
They're both, yeah, they are. They are. I like both of them equally, and I'm gonna say Saros. I don't like it. This is bad, but I'll just say that Saros' team made the playoffs and Demko's didn't. But that's my only reason why. If it was the other way, Demko would be my pick. But again, Demko was unbelievable this year for the Canucks, and he was, especially in the first half of the year, the reason why they were kind of still relevant, in all honesty.
Can I share a fun stat with you?
Sure.
So goalie point shares. This is how many points you like statistically, like how many points you add to your team's success.
Right.
Like how many points you contribute to your team. The highest goalie point shares in the league this season, in the regular season.
Yep.
UC Saros with 13.8.
Is 1.
It's 1.
Okay.
Shesterkin is 2.
Yep.
13.4. Drops off a little bit. There's a point difference with Hellebuck at 12.5. Demko at 12.3.
Okay.
Is number 4. Markstrom is 12.2. I could have asked you, would you rather have Demko or Markstrom, and really piss off Canucks fans?
That would have been a fun debate too.
And then Kemper and Vazzy and Sorokin are other goalies with 12-point shares. So, I guess this means that UC Saros is better than Thatcher Demko.
I guess, but it's very close, and those are underlying statistics. There's not you can read into them as much as you want, but the point is they're both I would say they're both elite goalies in the NHL, and either way you go, you're getting a great goalie. That's just it.
And we got a great podcast guest in you, Scott. Kind of co-hosting. Anything you want to
very regular guest, I think, is my title. I wouldn't say I'm a co-host.
You're a creator who I call and text because I am still trying to figure out my own schedule and still trying to figure out, you and I are, I can count on you to come on the pod. You wouldn't blow me off.
I also run Saturday selections for you weekly, so
yeah, you're kind of a big deal. Scott, anything you want to plug or promote?
No, I'm good. Yeah, Saturday selections. Go vote in Saturday selections. Go. If you have any song suggestions, let me know. I think I got lots coming. There's lots of good music out now, but I'll try to get some different stuff in there, and go vote in selections. Go Canadian teams. Go, I guess. I'm excited for these second round.
So who's your bandwagon team right now? Is it Colorado?
Well, no, Carolina.
Carolina? Okay.
Yeah, I would say Carolina, my bandwagon team. And as long as it's a Carolina versus Canadian team final, I'll be happy at this point.
Maybe that's what we'll do next week, as we'll rank potential. I mean, I guess the second round won't be over next week, but once the second round's over.
No.
Once the second round's over, we'll just rank potential Stanley Cup finals matchups. I don't have a lot to plug or promote. I'm moving this week, for those who don't know, so it might be a little bit busy the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
We should be able to pod. Actually, next week's the holiday, so it might be a little bit delayed. I'm trying to get back on the weekly pod schedule, but I'll know more once I know more of my schedule.
It's been hard. We're busy watching playoffs too. Maybe we'll do every 2 weeks, kind of in between rounds type of thing for now, and then from there.
Basically, once Ian gets his schedule figured out, once Ian gets his shit together, then we'll do more. And that goes for just outside of the podcast and SYP in general. That's just life. Maybe once Ian gets his shit together, then he can go play catch with somebody because he brought his ball glove over to Victoria for some reason.
There you go.
Who knows? That's the pod. Shout out Scott for coming on. Shout out again to Jevin, Left Side Heavy. We hung out with them again this weekend, so that was fun. And we'll be back again soon. So we'll talk to you then. Peace out.